Welcome to the Hop. This is David Charles Allen, Realtor at Village Properties in Santa Barbara, California, with my great friend and co-host Patty Teal.
We have so much to talk about to catch up with the holidays.
Yeah, a lot to go over. We haven't been on in a couple weeks now.
That's right.
Yeah, in terms of how the weather has been in Santa Barbara, we've had a good amount of rain with a lot of rain on the horizon. So it's really nice. So we're getting a little switch up, getting everything wet. There's been some swell too finally come in. So all the surfers are happy as well.
Oh, I bet so. So I have to tell you, it got really cold in Fort Myers. Christmas Eve, it was in the 30s. It was crazy. I didn't even know it ever got that cold. It was breaking all sorts of records. And it was really a different feeling. I think now I'm in Rapid City, and I think it was colder in Fort Myers than it is right here in Rapid City. But I think now Fort Myers has gone back up to its usual 70s.
Yeah, it's wild to think about. We had some really cold fronts too here. I mean, pretty consistent temperature in the 40s. Usually we don't get that too often, but when it's wet and a little bit of cold out there,
Fun for the holidays, though.
definitely is fun for the holidays. Stay warm, stay bundled up. If you have a fireplace too, light the fireplace, have some fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
In terms of how interest rates performed, they're 5.625 for 30-year jumbo and 6.375 for 30-year conforming. So slightly back up, just kind of doing the bounce around, going down, going up. Don't know where they're going to go.
We just have to report on it week by week because who knows what they're going to do.
Yeah, it's really, some people say it's going to go up. I feel like we're just broken disc or something, broken record, just repeating the same thing. But it's really impossible to know how it's going to turn out.
Mm-hmm.
And then in terms of how the statistics have performed, and this is for 2 weeks now. So this is usually the slowest period of the year. You got holidays and you got New Year's. There's not a lot of people that are looking to sell their home at this time of year because there's just too much other stuff going on. Mm-hmm. So it is limited always in the supply and everything like that. So we had 12 new listings in 2 weeks, 6 price changes, 27 that closed, 27 that went pending, 4 that were back on the market, and 3 that were coming soon.
Yeah, I guess realtors and brokers just plan on it being slow and they can take a little vacation time. Is that correct?
Yeah, it seems that way in terms of listings, but if we see there's 27 that went pending, so it still seems like people are being active in the market. 27 over 2 weeks, that's about 13 pendings a week. So, that's not a lot, but at the same time, that shows there still are people being active in the market. And with only 12 new listings in 2 weeks, it just shows the supply is still a little constrained. The demand is definitely dropping, but the supply isn't picking up substantially where we're having a lot of homes sit on the market for multiple months and not sell. The ones that are kind of going back to a balanced market where it's priced correctly and it's favorable neighborhood. The home doesn't need a lot of repairs. It's going to sell quickly. There still are buyers out there.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's good to know. But it is interesting because it was a wild year last year when everything was selling with multiple offers, no matter what type of house it is or what type of condition it was in.
Yeah, if you are a seller expecting what was happening just 6 months ago, that's just not realistic at this time. You're going to have to really temper your expectation and figure out what's best for you moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. So, David, I was wondering about reciprocity with real estate agents. Can you use your own agent in your hometown to help you when you're looking at homes out of state?
Yeah, as far as helping you with the details, they can't really do much. They can help you with the bigger picture and kind of get your mindset right and figure out those kind of things. Your friend can always set you up with a referral too as well for someone that's in that place you want to go visit. The person that's local is going to have more information about the neighborhoods, about how the process works in that specific place. So big picture, your friend's definitely going to be a wealth of knowledge that you can tap into. But in terms of actually getting the transaction done, you're definitely going to have someone local. And in terms of looking in the area too, if you haven't been there, if you don't know the area too much, you definitely want a local representative to kind of help you out in terms of finding out what's really most important to you.
So, David, I learned an interesting fact. Some states will accept your training. Like there's 15 states that you can go to and you don't have to do any additional training to get your real estate license if you have your in California. But California doesn't accept any other states to not take their special training to become an agent. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, so California is a little bit different in that sense. There's always going to be more litigious things in California, I feel like. And in terms of not being able to use your training to go to another state, like you said, you can use half your training, like the federal part of your training or the national part of your training, and then go take the state courses. And all you have to do is pass the state side of the exam and not the national side again. So there is helpful if you want to go, but California is always going to be more tricky when you're in terms of coming to get your license. So
Yeah.
I understand. It just makes sense why you can't bring anything else to California.
Yeah, well, thanks for explaining that. So how are your fur babies?
Everyone's doing really well. I mean, Mango's chased a couple raccoons up a tree last night at 2 a.m. And Bailey was outside trying to get into it. And it's like, what's going on? And Mango's 20 feet up in the tree. And you're just like, how are you even going to get down? And there's 2 raccoons looking at him. It's just like, oh my God.
Sounds like you could make a Christmas movie out of that adventure.
He's just been roaming the outside. I guess the raccoons, he didn't like them.
Oh, that's very, very funny. So I'll just tell one story that I thought was very funny. Maybe our animal lovers will enjoy it. I brought some Christmas gifts over to my grand dog, Riley, who's a golden retriever. I hadn't seen him in a long time, but I knocked on the door, and instead of giving me the usual greeting, he actually grabbed the bag out of my hand. You know, it was like a gift bag, and just ran off with it. He just knew it was for him and opened it up like a child.
Did he really?
Ollie went on his first flight. I think he actually was pretty scared. He kind of hid his head under my arm for pretty much the whole flight, but he did good.
Good. They didn't make you put him in a kennel or a crate?
Well, he's now a service dog, although I think we need to provide service to each other because he definitely has some anxiety.
Now, I know they changed it up. Is it you have to have them a psychology support animal now, or how does that work?
Yes, psychiatric service animal. Yes, the support animals are no longer allowed the same privileges that a service animal is. And they have to be able to perform a couple tasks that you might need. Pretty simple, though, like snuggling up on you, putting pressure and trying to keep you from getting anxious if that's what it is. Or a lot of people have PTSD or various things. So I'm glad they allow our special service animals to fly with us.
That is true. Yeah, I know. That's amazing. They don't make you put them in like a little kennel under the seat too. I know they always.
No. It might be hard if you had a huge dog because they're supposed to either be in your lap, like the size of a 2-year-old is, I think, maximum, or on the floor. And he was just sitting on the floor until the plane started to take off, and the rumbling probably scared him. He was probably wondering, what is this? And he jumped up on my lap for the rest of the flight.
Yeah, I know the first time, sometimes they have trouble with their ears popping and whatnot. So
yeah, well, kids sure do. Yeah, I wondered if the animals did.
Yeah.
Well, David, it's so good to catch up with you. I'm glad to be back. Maybe next week we could do a year in review with the real estate market and kind of wrap up the new year.
Sounds good, Patty. Let's give it a go next week.
All right. Thank you so much, David.
All right,
Bye.
Bye.